As the international community pleaded with Armenia and Azerbaijan to stop fighting, they did the opposite. Now, in its fourth day, violence is increasing in the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh, and it threatens to spread outside the immediate conflict zone. In Azerbaijan, Bada is more than a dozen kilometres from the front line, but the sound of shelling reverberates through the town. Men have crowded outside conscription offices in the capital Baku, ready to be sent to battle.
No, there is no fear. Our country needs us. We'll go as far as necessary for our country.
Nagorno-Karabakh is internationally recognised as part of Azerbaijan, but is controlled by Armenian forces. When the dispute began in the early 1990s, many of these men were not born.
We were waiting for this day. I hope we'll liberate Karabakh. I hope all our soldiers return safely.
In Armenia, there were long lines too, after Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan called all men into military service. The UN Security Council repeated calls from Russia, France and the US to stop the sign-up and step back for talks. Yet the leaders show little interest in negotiation.
It's very hard to talk about negotiations, especially about their contents, when specific military operations are underway.
It's not clear how this fighting began on Sunday, but Armenia and Azerbaijan blame each other. Azerbaijan says it is retaking towns and territory it lost in the 1990s. Armenia says it is repelling Azeri advances. Both countries say they are now at war. Armenia also alleges Turkey is supporting Azerbaijan in the battle, claiming a Turkish F-16 fighter jet shot down an Armenian warplane inside Armenian airspace on Tuesday. Turkey is backing Azerbaijan, but both countries say it is moral support with no military assistance.
F-16 planes of the Turkish Air Force do not participate in combat by any means. Today, new technologies make it difficult to hide something due to objective means of surveillance. That's why it's very easy to see this as just another provocation.
Provocations that have drawn Armenia and Azerbaijan into a violent confrontation with rising stakes. Charlotte Bellis, Al Jazeera.
And on the front line and the areas around it, civilians are being caught in the crossfire. Sinem Kosyolu is in Tatar, a city in Azerbaijan.
Around 8 a.m. local, a rocket from Armenian side hit right the city center of Tartar. Tartar is one of the largest regions, as the Azeris call regions surrounding Nagorno-Karabakh up on the northeast. And the rocket fell very close to a public infrastructure building, which is 20 or 30 meters away, right behind the corner. There were civilians here. Locals tell us that 7 civilians were injured, and one of them already died at the hospital. And they say that they are thankful the rocket didn't fully explode. You see a car here parked. It has been also damaged, and Nadir, the owner of the car, is going to tell us what happened this morning. Nadir Bey, anlatır mısınız ne oldu?
Bəli, ben maşını park elədim, saxladım. İçindəki sərnişinlər düşdü. Düşən kimi bir 3 dəqiqə keçməmiş partlayış baş verdi.
Tamam, çok teşekkür ediyorum Nadir Bey. Nadir says to us that there were other civilians here, and thank God his car was already parked here. He says at least 15 people were able to hide behind the car. That's how they rescued their lives. And he says, I can sacrifice my car as long as the civilians are rescued. And he says the Azeris will win the battle and actually repel the occupiers. And here in my hand, there are the fragments of the rocket that hit Tartar city center that has been already evacuated in the last couple of days, and that became a no-man's zone.
Now, in addition to all this, Turkey says it will back its ally Azerbaijan by, quote, every means available. Also, France, which is part of an international group trying to mediate the truce, has criticised Ankara for what it calls war-like rhetoric. French President Emmanuel Macron says any Turkish involvement in the fighting would be unacceptable.
At this stage, I remain extremely cautious, but we know it's an extremely volatile situation. That said, I have noted Turkey's political declarations in favor of Azerbaijan, which I think are inconsiderate and dangerous. France, as part of the Minsk group, which requires the impartiality which explains my caution, remains extremely concerned by the warlike messages coming from Turkey in the last few hours, which essentially remove any of Azerbaijan's inhibitions in reconquering Nagorno-Karabakh, and that we won't accept.
Let's check in with Robin Forestier-Walker, who's monitoring developments from Tbilisi in Georgia. Robin, so many calls for the fighting to stop and for some sort of negotiation, but these sides are just rejecting that.
Yes, well, Nikol Pashinyan, the Prime Minister of Armenia, did say, I believe in comments yesterday to the Russian media, that they would be prepared to go back to the negotiating table provided the fighting stops. So that's the Armenian position. But in terms of what we're seeing on the ground, unfortunately, the figures just get grimmer and grimmer. Today, 14 killed on the Azeri side, according to the Azeri Defense Ministry, and 3 civilians killed this afternoon in the town of Martakert on the Armenian-held side of Nagorno-Karabakh. So it looks as if the momentum is just constantly there, with the Azeris and the Armenians unable to stop, regardless of what the international community says. And this has always been the concern of people watching, that these things just get out of hand, and there's no stopping it once it's got started. Kamal.
OK, Robin Forestier-Walker with that update from Tbilisi, Georgia. Thank you.